Do you know what I'm talking about?
The Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is?
In 1944, the father of quantum physics, Max Planck, identified the existence of this field, and he called it the matrix. He said, underlying everything that we see, our bodies included, everything we see in the world around us in our bodies, he said, there is the existence of what must be a conscious and intelligent mind. This is his language in 1944. He said that this mind is the matrix of all matter, and it's from his work that the movie series began and many of the ideas that we have today.
So it's almost holographic. The part contains the whole.
The matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
A prison for your mind.
Some are calling it a quantum hologram, very technical sounding name. Dr. Edgar Mitchell, the former Apollo astronaut, I've had the honor of sharing a stage with him a number of times. He calls it nature's mind. Stephen Hawking calls it the mind of God. Others simply call it the field.
So light is a kind of halfway between material and energetic reality that we see in terms of substance and almost the mind of God, if you will.
I mean, if you said to people, is that table solid? They say, of course it is, of course it is. Well, it isn't, it can't be, it's made of atoms, right? And atoms are not solid. Tell me how it does that. Our minds do that by turning vibrational fields into apparently physical objects.
This isn't real.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Rain looks like a thunderstorm when it is presenting a coherent thought. So no one has ever seen the thought. What they do see in neurophysics is that they see a storm raging around different quadrants of the brain. Those are areas that are mapped in the body and what the person must be responding to. A holographic image.
How do you know you exist?
Well, of course I exist.
But how do you know you exist?
It is intuitively obvious.
Intuition is no proof. What concrete evidence do you have that you exist?
I think, therefore I am.
But how do you know that anything else exists?
My sensory apparatus reveals it to me.
Here's the big question. How do you know that the evidence your sensory apparatus reveals to you is correct? What I'm getting at is this. The only experience that is directly available to you is your sensory data. And this sensory data is merely a stream of electrical impulses that stimulates your computing center.
In other words, all that I really know about the outside world is relayed to me through my electrical connections.
Exactly.
That would mean that I really don't know what the outside universe is like at all, for certain.
That's it. That's it.
It exists now only as part of a neural interactive simulation that we call the Matrix.
We create reality. We're reality producing machines. We create the effects of reality all the time.
Core rules. Gotta sink the last one.
The hood.
It never touched you. And it's not solid. It's ball. It's mostly empty. Those electrons build up a charge and push the other electrons away before they touch. So nobody touches nothing.
The most solid thing you can say about all this insubstantial matter is that it's more like a thought. It's like a concentrated bit of information. Matter is not what we have long thought it to be. A particle, which we think of as a solid thing, really exists in a so-called superposition, a spread out wave of possible locations. And it's in all of those at once. The instant you check on it, it snaps into just one of those possible positions.
When you ain't looking, it's like a wave. When you are looking, it's like a particle.
Atoms are not just unimaginable, they're self-contradictory. They behave both like particles and waves. And it gets weirder. When you're not looking at an atom, it behaves like a spread out wave. But when you look to see where it is, it behaves like a particle. This is insane. First, atoms couldn't be visualized at all. Now it seems they change completely in character, depending on whether or not you're looking at them. So the act of measurement or observation creates the entire universe.
Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth.
What truth?
There is no spoon.
There is no spoon?
Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends, it is only yourself.
And what the science now is showing is that when you can change the field that the atom is in, you change the atom. And we're made of those atoms. So when we have feelings in our hearts, we're changing the field that connects the stuff everything is made of, and we literally are altering our physical reality.
Quantum waves, which are vibrations, out of which all matter is eventually is created or emerges.
We may perceive ourselves as droplets, if you like, individuals. But if you put a droplet in the ocean, where does the droplet end and the ocean start? The ocean is the droplet is the ocean, and it's the same with us.
And one of the basic assumptions of quantum physics is the quantum wave nature of all matter. That matter, unobserved, matter on its own, moves and vibrates in waves.
We can get a pretty good feel for the double slit experiment and how dramatically it alters our picture of reality. But first, I need to make a couple of adjustments to the lane. You'd expect that if I roll a few of these balls down the lane, they'll either be stopped by the barrier or pass through one or the other slit and hit the screen at the back. And in fact, that's just what happens. Those balls that make it through always hit the screen directly behind either the left slit or the right slit. You can picture them like this. Instead of hitting just two areas, the electrons land all over the detector screen, creating a pattern of stripes, including some right between the two slits, the very place you'd think would be blocked. Well, to physicists, even in the 1920s, this pattern could mean only one thing. Waves.
Particles are particles, waves are waves. How can a particle be a wave? And now somebody's telling you a rock is like an ocean wave. What?
Waves of what? Are they water waves? Are they sound waves? Are they electrical waves? No, they're actually waves of nothing.
If you want to see fear in a quantum physicist's eyes, just mention the words, the measurement problem.
An electron had to be here or there and simply nowhere in between. And that's like nothing we experience in everyday life.
An electron spin, as with other quantum qualities, is generally completely fuzzy and uncertain until the moment you measure it. Quantum mechanics says that even if you separated those particles, sending them in opposite directions, they could remain entangled, inextricably connected. Measuring one thing can in fact instantly affect its distant partner, as if the space between them didn't even exist. Spooky action at a distance.
What's surprising is that when you make a measurement of one particle, you affect the state of the other particle. You change its state.
There's no forces or pulleys or, telephone wires, there's nothing connecting those things, right? How could my choice to act here have anything to do with what happens over there?
Spooky action at a distance actually happens. Well, one dream has been to somehow transport people and things from one place to another without crossing the space in between. In other words, teleportation.
Beam me aboard. Energize.
Energize. Star Trek has always made beaming or teleporting look pretty convenient. It seems like pure science fiction, but could entanglement make it possible? Remarkably, tests are already underway here on the Canary Islands off the coast of Africa. One entangled photon stays on La Palma, while the other is sent by laser to the island of Tenerife, 89 miles away. Now Zeilinger brings in a third photon, the one he wants to teleport, and has it interact with the entangled photon on La Palma. And here's the amazing part. Because of spooky action, the team is able to use that comparison to transform the entangled photon on the distant island into an identical copy of that third photon. It's as if the third photon has teleported across the sea without traversing the space between the islands.
Sort of extract the information carried by the original and make a new original there.
Using this technique, Zeilinger has successfully teleported dozens of particles.
That is the most bizarre thing of quantum mechanics. It is impossible to even comprehend. Don't even ask me why. Don't ask me which you're going to how it works, because it's an illegal question. All we can say is that is apparently the way the world ticks.
It's almost as if things were in more than one place at a time. And what I do here can have an immediate effect somewhere else, even if there's no one there.
The simple fact is that relativity and quantum mechanics have been tested countless times, and they work. Like it or not, we have to learn to accept these weird predictions are just simply true.
It's the best theory we have.
There are literally billions of pieces of confirming evidence for quantum mechanics.
It has passed so many tests of so many bizarre predictions.
There's no disagreement between quantum mechanics and any experiment that's ever been done.
I don't think people really believe it. And I don't mean that people say, oh, you're lying, or, oh, the scientists are confused. I think it is so mysterious that you can't even understand how amazing it is.
That is highly counterintuitive and something which many people would find difficulty accepting.
I didn't say it would be easy, Neo. I just said it would be the truth.
Stop! Let me out!
It is now a scientific fact that the space between things is anything but empty. It is full of a living, pulsating essence that we may have experiences inside of our bodies that influence the world beyond our bodies through the conduit of what's in this space.
And therefore, literally, I create my own reality. It may sound like a tremendous bombastic claim by some new agey without any understanding of physics whatsoever, but really quantum physics is telling us that.
The bottom line is this: everything is conscious. What we call creation is like an ocean of infinite energy, which is manifesting itself in different forms.
What this tells us is that once matter is physically joined, even when it becomes separate, the energy is still there that's connecting it. If you could go into the universe today and take all the particles of matter and take out all the space in between and bring it together and compress it into a size of a single green pea, it means that you and me and every one of our listeners, we were all once part of that same particle that creates this whole universe today. And even though those particles are now separate and expanding, and studies show that they are, energetically we're all still linked.
So how can you continue to see the world as real if the self that is determining it to be real is intangible?
There literally are different worlds in which we live. There's the macroscopic world that we see. There's the world of our cells. It's the world of our atoms. whirl of our nuclei. These are each totally different worlds. They have their own language. They have their own mathematics. They're not just smaller. Each is totally different, but they're complementary. Because I am my atoms, but I am also my cells. I'm also my macroscopic physiology. It's all true. They're just different levels of truth. The deepest level of truth uncovered by science and by philosophy is the fundamental truth of unity. At that deepest subnuclear level of our reality, you and I are literally one.
The matrix is everything.
It's almost photographic.
How do you know you exist?
What is real?
Our minds turning vibrational fields into physical objects.
There is no spoon.
The part contains the whole.
A prison for your mind.
Ponder that for a while.
Real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.